Alright, what's going on? So today's video is a bit different. Instead of breaking down a single topic or a trade, I want to do like a weekly roundup. So like community wins, how to make a strategy work for you, some indicator stuff, some mistakes I've seen in the Discord, some interesting prop firm data I came across, and a few other interesting things from the Discord. So think of it like a behind the scenes view of what's happening inside the community right now. And yeah, if you guys like it, maybe I'll do something similar at the end of every week. But yeah, let's get into it. So we'll start with some wins, start with some good stuff inside the Discord. We had some pretty strong results. So we had Core Philosophy, who went a total of 12 wins, 2 losses, and 2 break-evens this week. So an 85% win rate. Very nice. Pretty good, pretty good. Then we've got Eddie, first week, I think he's new. First week of using strict version wick theory A+ setups. He trades gold, silver, NASDAQ, and oil. Oil is pretty interesting. Something I need to start looking into. Primarily Monday to Friday New York session, and he went 12 wins, 8 losses, 9 break-even for a total of 16R in 1 week. All 6 sessions were green. Very nice. So he trades pretty standard rules: POI engaged, 10 minutes after POI, higher time frame FEG, and CISD or IFEG entry. Then we've got RN, who's absolutely crushing it with some more payouts. This guy's just killing it on Apex and TPT. Just absolutely crushing it. So here's something else I want to touch on, because I get asked about this a lot. So all those guys who are crushing it that I just spoke about, they all have a slightly different approach to version wick theory. So like we've got members in the Discord who only use change in state of delivery entry models, and then we've got some who only use inverse fair value gaps. Then we've got some traders who use a high time frame bias. We've got some who use daily premium and discount levels. And I get it from the outside looking in, it can be a bit confusing, like which one is right, which version of the model is actually correct. And the answer is all of them are correct, because the model is not this strict framework where everyone needs to follow every exact rule to the T. It's more of a framework. It's a base model, the point of interest, the version wicks, the entry models, and then you can modify that to fit your own psychology, your emotional capabilities, your risk tolerance, your session timings. Yeah, what's funny is 2 of probably the most successful traders in our community use completely different entry models. So the first one is XMBTO. He only uses CISDs, and he will absolutely not touch inverse fair value gaps. Whereas RN, who I spoke about before, he will only use IFEGs, and he will not touch change in state of deliveries. Yet somehow they are both crushing it. So who's right, who's wrong? There is no right or wrong. What makes someone consistent and profitable in this community is they modified the base model to fit their own psychology, session, and lifestyle. They didn't just copy someone else's exact setup. They built confidence in their own version through reps. Something else I wanted to highlight about this guy, RN Trade NQ, is he doesn't actually use indicators. No indicators at all, just completely raw dog, just pure price action, and then he marks off his own POIs and inverse fair value gap levels. So he actually understands what is happening in the market. And I just wanted to highlight this because people think indicators are like the secret strategy that will get them past the edge of being profitable. But indicators are simply just a visual aid to help you see what you want to see faster. But if you don't actually understand what you're looking at, then you're just following a random line on the chart coded by some random dude on the internet, and you think that's going to help you. But if you don't actually understand what's happening, it's not going to do anything for you. And I mention this because I see this in the Discord, Every day, every fucking day, someone's like, oh, wow, my indicator's not printing. How will I ever get on with life? Like, and my reaction is always the same. Do you actually know what the indicator is doing? Because if you did, you would not need an indicator to tell you. You would be able to see it yourself. And so my rule is, do not add an indicator to your chart until you actually understand what it's showing you. You need to learn the concept first. Understand what a change in state of delivery is. Understand what a fair value gap is. How is a POI created? Then, if you want a visual aid to help you spot it faster, you can add an indicator, but not before. Adding an indicator before you understand what it's doing it's like adding a random modification to your car without knowing what it does. Or let's say taking some fucking random supplement from China just because someone said it's good for you, but you don't actually know what it's doing. And then when something goes wrong, you don't know why. So yeah, don't be like with these guys. Learn the concept first, then you can add the indicator as a shortcut once you already understand what it's doing. All right, indicator rant over. Let's talk about what not to do. So gambling versus trading. I want to share a story. I'll keep this anonymous, so I did not include this guy's username. About a particular dude who spent over $10,000 on prop firm challenge fees, $10,000, and has not gotten a single payout. And before you think this is just bad luck or bad strategy, it's not. Like, I looked at his messages. It's clear he has no plan, no risk management, no model, just like full sending evaluation accounts every time. Like, look at this. 3 minis. This guy's trading 50K accounts and he's using 3 minis every trade. Like, bro, I wouldn't even touch 1 mini. That's insane. It's just straight up gambling for a quick pass, blowing, look at this, 4 accounts, 4 resets in one day. Like, come on. A prop firm challenge is not a lottery ticket. If you can't pass with proper risk management, then you're not suddenly going to hit it big and just make a bunch of money. You're just going to blow your accounts really quickly. And $10,000 is a lot of fucking money. Like, if you invest this properly into slowly building up challenge accounts, slowly building funded accounts, you could end up with like 40 to 50 funded accounts. And imagine if you just took your time with a 60% win rate model and grinded your way up with base hits. You'd be absolutely crushing it. So if this is you, just stop, like, figure out the process, learn the basics first. No offense to this guy, but he could not even identify an inverse fair value gap. Yet here he is spending $10,000 on prop firms. Just insane. And yeah, that got me thinking, and I realized that my content is more suitable for intermediate traders. People who already have an understanding of things like fair value gaps, inverse fair value gaps, what a wick is, how to risk properly. So yeah, maybe I need to do like a huge 1 hour video just going over the basics someone needs to understand before they can actually understand and implement version wick theory. But we'll see. All right. So I came across this pretty interesting ebook from Funded Next Futures. Someone shared this in the Discord. Shout out to you. So what they did is they analyzed data from over 17,000 prop firm traders from their own prop firm, and they tried to figure out what the top 5% do differently to everyone else. And a lot of it is rubbish. A lot of it is just like classic survivorship bias, like standard correlation does not equal causation stuff. Like, for example, this one, they call this a secret, but it's like, if you can make more total profits from your winning trades than how much you lose by your losing trades, you can get more payouts. Like, obviously, if you have more profit factor, like you make more than you lose, then you will get more payouts. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. This is not insightful at all. But that being said, there were a few small takeaways that I got from this that I want to go over. But yeah, you can find it in the Discord somewhere. Someone linked it. You can download it. But I'll go through my main takeaways. So this one was pretty insightful for me, that you should focus on trading less pairs, because the people that only trade 1 or 2 or 3 symbols seem to get majority of the payouts. And the people that trade more assets get less payouts. And this makes sense because when you're looking at too many different pairs, your cognitive ability gets clouded and you just can't think properly. And your attention is split between too many different things. Which is why, for the longest time, I always said, just look at NQ and gold for version week theory. Stop trying to look at, I don't know, some people try to use this on Forex and they're looking at like 16 different pairs. Like, that is just not going to work. So yeah, this has reconfirmed my idea of only looking at NQ and gold. And only now, after several months of being very comfortable with the strategy, have I started looking at silver. And now I'm very comfortable with silver. I might start looking at oil as well, because oil is starting to look pretty clean. But yeah, main thing is focus on less until you are very comfortable. The next one that was pretty interesting was something I'd never thought about before, and this got me thinking. So the most profitable traders only trade one specific trading day in the week, like Tuesday. Well, they didn't say what day, for example, but let's just say Tuesday or Wednesday. And the least profitable traders try to trade every day of the week. And this is not something I'd ever considered before. So then I looked at my journal and my data, and I broke it down, and I realized Mondays were actually really shit for me, but I'd never considered looking at this. And Monday is like extremely negative for me. It's a negative expected value, and it's actually dragging down my profits for the rest of the week. So this was actually huge for me, and I think I will probably stop trading Mondays. Or maybe if I really see like an A++ setup, then I'll size down on it and not be too aggressive. But yeah, this genuinely changed my trading. So I would recommend you, and like it's super easy these days. If you track your trades in Notion, like me, you can literally just download the CSV and then upload it to Claude AI, and like it'll break down the different days, the different times of the trades, and show you all the data. It's like pretty cool. But yeah, this was really insightful for me to stop trading Mondays. And the last thing that was pretty insightful for me was that the more profitable traders have less losing trades in one day. And I guess I kind of already incorporate this in having a daily loss limit, but it was just nice to reinforce the idea that even though we like to scalp and we like to take many trades in a day, sometimes it's just not your day and you'll get a few losses. And it is important when you get those few losses to just call it quits for the day and stop trying to make it back. Because I've realized the way that people lose their accounts and have these negative spirals where they lose days or weeks or months of progress is because they tilt and they just blow everything in one day. So yeah, traders who have the lowest number of losing trades in a day are the most profitable. Less than 14% of traders can keep their daily losing trades below 4. Traders who can keep their daily losing trades below 4 are getting around 72% of the payout distribution. So yeah, 4 losers in a day is a very good amount, I would say. So for example, let's say I only trade 2 sessions, Asia and London. Then I will limit myself to 2 trades in each session. So if I lose 2 in Asia and I lose 2 in London, that's it. That is the maximum amount I can lose. Yeah, but it depends on you and your psychology. Maybe you can handle only 2 losses in a day before you start to spiral. So maybe that is your limit. But yeah, you want to keep the amount of losses low, and then just accept the losing day and move on to the next day. Don't try to win it back. That is where a lot of mistakes happen, when you try to win it back and you cannot accept a losing day. Yeah, so that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this new weekly recap format. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Maybe I'll consider doing it every week if there's enough interest. And I hope you had a good week. Hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.